Night 4, the final night of the Republican National Convention, just moments away. The opera singing you just heard will give way to speeches, and then the president. We'll be carrying all of it here on Fox, so stay tuned. So riots across the country for the last 3 months raise the question, why do we have police? Well, we hire cops to clean up the messes the rest of us create. When people don't get married before they have kids and their fatherless sons turn violent, or when big business offshores blue-collar jobs and entire communities collapse, it is the police who deal with the consequences. Not all cops are good at their jobs, obviously. But in the end, the big problems are not their fault. Most of them are just working-class guys doing their best. Unfortunately for them, working-class guys are Donald Trump's base, and the Democratic Party hates them for that, particularly in an election year. So to neutralize them, the left has constructed an absurd, a baseless but elaborate lie designed to convince you that the police are the real problem in this country. Amazingly, an awful lot of people have fallen for it. That's why there are no cops around anymore. The result of that? Chaos. Dozens dead. Kids in the streets with guns. America's cities on fire. Why did that happen? Because the left neutered the police. That's why it happened. None of these cities looked like this 3 months ago, not until they did this. The consequences are their fault. They're not your fault. They're not the fault of the police. They're the fault of the academic left that made this possible across the country. Kenosha, Wisconsin is the latest place it's happened. Here's some of what happened in that city this week. So who did that? Who turned a nice little town like Kenosha, Wisconsin into a hellscape where 17-year-olds are shooting people? You didn't do that. The cops didn't do that. The left did that. They destroyed that city. They abetted the violence you saw the other night. Period. They made the cops go away, and when the cops left, lunacy filled the void. Period. They're denying that now, but they're lying, as usual. The media didn't even want to cover it. Mostly they didn't. So the job of covering the riots fell to people like Julio Rosas. He's a senior writer at Town Hall. He was there. He joins us for an update on what's happened in Kenosha. Julio, thanks so much for coming on. So what's the state of the city tonight?
So I flew out of Kenosha this morning, and last night was largely peaceful. There were still gatherings past curfew, and but they had a march. They marched throughout the street, but I didn't see any confrontations between officers or protesters or even armed civilians, as unfortunately we saw Tuesday night. And so I think that was the result of Trump sending in more reinforcements, and because people seemingly are more scared after the multiple shootings that happened on Tuesday.
So from our perspective, and in talking to others who were there, it looks like, predictably, violence filled the void left by legitimate law enforcement. There was no one around to keep order, so, of course, violence exploded. Was that your impression being there?
Absolutely. I mean, this could have been stopped on Monday night because the rioting broke out on Sunday, and instead of asking for the reinforcements necessary, the police were mostly kept to protect the county courthouse and the precinct, and so that left the rest of the downtown area at the mercy of rioters, and multiple buildings were burned. A lot of property was damaged. They particularly were like to target parking lots filled with cars, and so and then we saw that again a little bit on Tuesday night, and we saw, and I was only a few feet away from the site of the second shooting, and it was just chaos. It was absolute anarchy, and so I mean, this is really the result of poor leadership at both the local and the state level.
Of course it is. It looks scary as hell from the pictures, was it?
As you know, Tucker, I've been traveling all across the country, Minneapolis, Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, New York, and this was second to Minneapolis. And the only reason why Minneapolis is still #1 in my book is just because of how large scale. It was on a much bigger scale, but Kenosha, of all places, it turns out to be number two in my book in terms of just absolute anarchy.
Of all places, exactly. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you, Tucker.
Speaking of Minneapolis, more sadness there yesterday. A man wanted for murder ran from the police and then shot himself to death. Now, to be clear, no one touched this man. He took his own life. He did it on camera, so there is no question about what happened. But it turns out that in August of 2020, even self-harm is now a variety of police brutality. You do it to yourself, but it's their fault. So BLM activists in Minneapolis responded to this, as they often do, by staging a civil rights demonstration at Target. Watch. All right, yes, there did seem to be some stealing going on. Well, actually, they cleaned the place out. But don't call it looting. At CNN, they refer to what you just saw as a non-compensated retail experience. Just like when arsonists torch buildings, on CNN, it's fiery but peaceful. Watch.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. A second night since Jacob Blake was seen shot in the back 7 times by a police officer.
Horace Cooper is the author of How Trump is Making Black America Great Again.
And the United States will be the first nation to plant its beautiful flag on Mars. This is the unifying national agenda that will bring our country together. So tonight I say to all Americans, this is the most important election in the history of our country. There has never been such a difference between two parties or two individuals in ideology, philosophy, or vision than there is right now. Our opponents believe that America is a depraved nation. We want our sons and daughters to know the truth. America is the greatest and most exceptional nation in the history of the world. Our country wasn't built by cancel culture, speech codes, and soul-crushing conformity. We are not a nation of timid spirits. We are a nation of fierce, proud, and independent American patriots. We're a nation of pilgrims, pioneers, adventurers, explorers, and trailblazers who refuse to be tied down, held back, or in any way reined in. Americans have steel in their spines, grit in their souls, and fire in their hearts. There is no one like us on earth. I want every child in America to know that you are part of the most exciting and incredible adventure in human history. No matter where your family comes from, no matter your background in America, anyone can rise. With hard work, devotion, and drive, you can reach any goal and achieve every ambition. Our American ancestors sailed across the perilous ocean to build a new life on a new continent. They braved the freezing winters, crossed the raging rivers, scaled the rocky peaks, trekked the dangerous forests, and worked from dawn till dusk. These pioneers didn't have money, they didn't have fame, but they had each other. They loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. When opportunity beckoned, they picked up their Bibles, packed up their belongings, climbed into their covered wagons, and set out west for the next adventure. Ranchers and miners, cowboys and sheriffs, farmers and settlers, they pressed on past the Mississippi to stake a claim that we don't tear down our past. We are the nation that won a revolution, toppled tyranny and fascism, and delivered millions into freedom. We laid down the railroads, built the great ships, raised up the skyscrapers, revolutionized industry, and sparked a new age of scientific discovery. We set the trends in art and music, radio and film, sport and literature, and we did it all with style and confidence and flair, because that is who we are. Whenever our way of life was threatened, our heroes answered the call. From Yorktown to Gettysburg, from Normandy to Iwo Jima, American patriots raced into cannon blasts, bullets, and bayonets to rescue American liberty. They had no fear, but America didn't stop there. We looked into the sky and kept pressing onward. We built a 6 million pound rocket and launched it thousands of miles into space. We did it so that two brave patriots could stand tall and salute our wondrous American flag planted on the face of the moon. For America, nothing is impossible. Over the next 4 years, we will prove worthy of this magnificent legacy. We will reach stunning new heights, and we will show that the world, for America, there is a dream, and it is not beyond your reach. Together we are unstoppable. Together we are unbeatable, because together we are the proud citizens of the United States of America. And on November 3rd, we will make America safer. We will make America stronger. We will make America prouder. And we will make America greater than ever before. I am very, very proud to be the nominee of the Republican Party. I love you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Well, that was quite something.
Yeah.
Ivanka Trump, introducing her father, said Washington has not changed Donald Trump. Donald Trump has changed Washington. We can tell you this. Washington has never seen anything like this. A Republican convention on the South Lawn with a fireworks display overlooking the Washington Monument and the National Mall. A speech that was definitely long.
Yes.
It definitely was woven in with some optimism, some policy specifics, but really going after his opponent, Joe Biden. In fact, mentioning Joe Biden 41 times in this speech, where he was really making the case you can't go down the Democrats' road. Nothing we've seen like it.
I mean, we're just, the fireworks are still booming away here. They lit up the sky with Trump 2020. These conventions are always a comparison between one week and the other. I'm thinking back to the drive-in fireworks show that we saw not too long ago in Delaware. No comparison. The president using the bully pulpit and his opportunity to be here at the White House and in Washington absolutely to the fullest extent possible. He had a very positive finish to the speech tonight, saying that in America nothing is impossible. He talked about 10 million jobs in 10 months, putting a woman on Mars, a vaccine by the end of the year. So overall, I would say a very optimistic outlook, although he did not mince words when he talked about Joe Biden, Brett.
Right, and if you were thinking that there wasn't going to be policy specifics, they were in there. And if you were thinking that somebody had a problem with the trappings of the White House, they have more of a problem tonight because this was quite something on the South Lawn and watching these fireworks in the distance. Our all-star panel is with us: Chris Wallace, Britt Hume, Dana Perino, Juan Williams, Donna Brazile, and Carl Rove.